Greetings, dear viewers, ladies and gentlemen. This is this news hour with the news. I'm Shifaralaka. Stay with us. The WFP and UNICEF country representatives in Ethiopia and ambassador of the EU to Ethiopia express their happiness over the productive conclusion of the EU-led peace talk between the Ethiopian government and TPLF in South Africa and affirm their commitment to support its implementation. They also reiterate the benefits of the peace deal to support citizens to be rehabilitated sustainably. Kazauncan has more on that.
Following a historic peace deal signed in Pretoria, South Africa, the Ethiopian government has been striving to implement a peace agreement for the benefit of Ethiopians. As a result, efforts are being made to supply humanitarian aid to Amhara, Afar, and Tigray region states that have been devastated by the violence. In an exclusive interview with TV English, the European ambassador to Ethiopia, the UNICEF country representative in Ethiopia, and the WFP country director and representative in Ethiopia all stated how the peace agreement between the government of Ethiopia and the TPLF is significant and admirable to Ethiopia, and how they are very pleased about it.
European Union has been loud and clear in congratulating and welcoming this cessation of hostilities agreement, which will lead to, final peace in Ethiopia, we very much hope. So we see the process as it evolves for the time being as positive. I think, the many deadlines have already been met on schedule. I think there's a great effort on both parties to turn this agreement into something real, meaningful, concrete, and into something that will turn the page of war in Ethiopia. So we are very confident, and Ethiopia can count on the member states of the European Union, on the European Union, to try to support their efforts and to try to encourage. Now is the time to encourage the efforts rather than being, sometimes I hear a few people being skeptical. I don't think this is the time for that. We need to do everything we can to support the efforts of Ethiopia, of all the parties involved, to try to make it work.
In the meantime, it was also said that the deal made by the Ethiopian government and the TPLF will play a big role in restoring basic services, infrastructures, and will be a very beneficial step in relocating the internally displaced people by the war.
For us and for everybody, I think it's a very positive step because it means that people will have hope of going back home, of resettling, of having their lives back into their hands. And I think that's what we all want. And I think that's what all the Ethiopians also want. So we welcome that.
It was a great news. We were actually expecting that. We knew that the Ethiopian government was working hardly on that. And when the news came, we were very happy to hear that. And we actually immediately started preparing in order to be, to accompany those peace talks and the peace that is coming from the peace talk with concrete actions for all the people that are involved in the conflict in the three regions in the north.
Following this positive development, international humanitarian organizations, including UNICEF, WFP, and the EU, been engaging in the delivery of humanitarian assistance to people in need and rebuilding conflict-affected areas.
Now, the Minister of Health, Dr. Leah Tadesse, discloses the $1.4 billion is required to rehabilitate war-damaged health facilities across Ethiopia. The minister also expresses that the government of Ethiopia is delivering rapid, basic, and urgent medical items to Tigray. Shagamata has the following story.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Leah Tadesse, announced that $1.4 billion is needed to reconstruct health facilities damaged by the war in the north and other parts of Ethiopia.
The communities in the northern part of Ethiopia are directly impacted by the war. Many health posts, centers, and hospitals are highly damaged in Afar, Amhara, and Tigray regions. In addition, ambulances, medical equipment, warehouses are also destroyed. Health institutions in Oromia, Benishangul Gumuz, and some parts of southern nation nationalities regions are also vandalized by conflicts. $1.4 billion is required to rebuild damaged health institutions in the regions I mentioned according to the study we have conducted.
The minister also stated that although many health institutions in Afar and Amhara regions started to provide basic health services prior to this time, his support is needed to rebuild all damaged health facilities to be fully functional.
Efforts are made to reconstruct health institutions in Afar and Amhara regions. Last year, 1.2 billion birr was invested on the rehabilitation work. The effort is being strengthened from time to time. In Amhara, 40 hospitals were destroyed due to the war. Among them, 35 of them are operational. In Afar region, 2 hospitals were damaged. One began providing health service and one health center became hospital. So 2 hospitals are operational and 1 hospital is not functional. In Amhara region, 452 health centers were vandalized. At least 415 of them began to provide basic services to patients. In Afar region, 52 health centers were destroyed and 21 of them became operational.
She also pointed out that the government, along with humanitarian aid agencies, were delivering basic medical tools and medicines to Tigray region before the peace agreement, adding as per the peace agreement, the government is delivering basic medical items rapidly after the peace agreement.
There were interruptions of delivery of medical support to the Tigray region. However, the Ministry of Health, along with the Ministry of Aid agencies, was providing medical items since January last month. The Ministry of Health itself provided medicines and medical inputs estimated to cost 71 million birr to Tigray from June to August last year. Plenty of aid agencies also provided 308 metric tons of food and non-food items.
The minister called on everyone to cooperate to rebuild health institutions damaged by the war in the north.
Well, viewers, let's now turn our attention to trending stories over the past 24 hours. And I'm joined by my colleague, Goshu Maliso. He's going to help us find some of the things that he observed. Goshu, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So can you tell me some of the things that you saw over the past 24 hours?
Yeah, a lot of issues have been proliferating in social media over the past 24 hours. But for this session, I have seen one thing, that is Minister of Government Communication Service Lagasa Tullu in his Facebook page said Ethiopian government is fully complying with peace agreement principles, he said. So it said the Ethiopian government is totally fulfilling its responsibilities in accordance with the Pretoria peace agreement. So the minister said that positive and lasting peace originates from the inner desire. If we lookward and heal our wounds, we can maintain the people, the unity of the people, and ensuring lasting peace. He said, everybody benefits from the peace dividend, not from the conflict. So, in ensuring, since the start of the ceasefire, for example, various aid is delivered into Tigray region, according to ICRC. So everyone is just benefited from the peace agreement, and they can get help from various directions. So for this reason, he said, we tolerate minor issues in order to achieve the main goal. He said the main goal is ensuring lasting peace in the country. So some Tigrayan, some extremist Tigrayan diasporas who are leading in decent life or comfortable life in the US or other countries, they are disrupting the peace process. They should be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. He wanted to stress here, and externalizing things and echoing the problems arising from doubt and fear for the time being can never be part of the solution alone, he said. So peace is important. For this reason, it is important to take concrete steps. The minister pointed out that accordingly the government is fully implementing its responsibilities based on the Pretoria agreement. Legacy added, medical supplies and other important or crucial aids just delivered into the Tigray region, that ICRC has confirmed this. So peace is not one-sided. Peace is when according to the principle, unless according to the principle of the Pretoria Agreement, unless they uphold that, peace is not one-sided. Even though the Ethiopian government is willing for peace, from the TPLF side, it should be upheld the principles in order to ensure lasting peace in the country. So he also stressed that optimism and committed action for every Ethiopian is vital in order to establish or ensure peace in the nation, he said. So AU has started its steps, or has started ensuring or seeking African solutions for African problems.
Right.
So it has to be strengthened, and other parties or other partners like US or other partners, other international organizations should support the peace process rather than just interfering or meddling on the African affairs. So this has to be strengthened. The African Union has started its concrete steps.
Yeah.
This should be fostered in the future. So this is what I want to say, or what I observed in the past 24 hours.
Indeed, yeah. So peace is vital to Ethiopia. Goshu, thank you so much for that piece of information.
Brother.
Moving on, the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs reaffirms commitment of the government of Ethiopia to continue the repatriation of citizens who are suffering from appalling conditions in Saudi Arabia. Foreign Affairs State Minister Ambassador Burtukan Ayano, along with other high-level officials, has welcomed citizens who returned home upon their arrival at Bole International Airport. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that 1,170 citizens have been repatriated home on Monday with 3 flights. The government will continue the repatriation of citizens who are in difficult situation in Saudi Arabia in a more strengthened manner. Moving on, since the construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam began in 2011, Ethiopians and Ethiopian origins around the globe have been showing their solidarity, purchasing bonds and granting gifts regarding the amount of money collected to dam in the first quarter of 2015 Ethiopian fiscal year. Our staff reporter, Tigster Nissa, has prepared the following infographics report. Have a listen to this.
April 2011 was the date the foundation stone was laid for the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which will only be minutes away for its 12 years anniversary since the foundation was laid. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam GERD is said to be completed within 5 years and will start generating power to the Ethiopians, but that has not succeeded. At present, the dam has started to generate power due to the joint efforts of Ethiopians in the improvements made by the government. Ethiopians are still living their legacy for the completion of the GERD. In this first quarter of 2015 Ethiopian fiscal year alone, it was possible to collect more than 1,197,000,000 Ethiopian birr for the GERD. This is the highest amount of money collected for the dam in the first quarter from the sales of local bond and donations. Currently, more than 1,090,118,000 birr has been obtained from the sales of domestic bonds and donations. Another way to raise funds for the GERD is contribution of Ethiopians and Ethiopian origin living abroad. In this fundraising, in the first quarter of Ethiopian fiscal year, it was possible to collect nearly 6,195,928 Ethiopian birr. An account number has been opened through Ethiopian Electricity to complete the GERD on time. Ethiopians are living their legacy at home and abroad. In this way, in the first quarter of Ethiopian fiscal year 2015, it was possible to collect more than 62 million Ethiopian birr, which indicates that Ethiopians from abroad are participating in it widely. The other way that Ethiopians did participate in it by contributing 1 birr is the GERD fundraiser, which can be done by simply sending a short message to 8100. In this case, in the first quarter of this fiscal year, it was possible to secure about 38,644,000 Ethiopian birr, which is said to be a lot of money. Since the start of the GERD, Ethiopians have constantly been saving money from what they have and contributing their level base even more. So far, Ethiopians have spent more than 80,113 million Ethiopian birr for the GERD since the beginning of the construction of the GERD. However, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD, still needs the help of all Ethiopians to be completed on time and achieve its purpose in the next 2 years.
Moving on, the Institute of Ethiopian Studies under Addis Ababa University has received heritage from different individuals and organizations. Director of the Institute, Takala Marid, acknowledged and thanked the people who have dedicated their priceless historical heritage to the Institute, thereby helping Ethiopian history be better known and registered. President at the event, Adula Pankhurst, indicated the collected historical heritage would have paramount significance for the Institute to conduct more studies and foster the history of Ethiopia in a better way. He underscored heritage are tangible evidences to depict the culture and identity of peoples in their original existence. Now, in business, investors are keen to be engaged in agriculture and manufacturing sectors investment in Ethiopia, according to the Moroccan ambassador to Ethiopia, Nezha Alawi Mohammed. The Ethiopian Investment Commissioner Lelise Neme met with the Moroccan ambassador. Both sides discussed strengthening the investment and business partnership between the two countries. The commissioner explained investment opportunities and conducive environment for investment and business in Ethiopia. The ambassador, for her part, also cited that Moroccan investors are keen to invest in Ethiopia in the manufacturing and agriculture sectors as per the Ethiopian Investment Commission. Meanwhile, the commissioner also received the South Korean business team from Venta Flour and discussed the investment opportunities of Ethiopian horticulture production. Commissioner Lelise confirmed that Ethiopian Investment Commission will facilitate and support the success of the Korean business delegation's travel purpose in Ethiopia. And moving on, enhancing the capacities of labor attaches of East African countries based in the Middle East is vital to improve the working conditions and protection of migrant workers. That's according to the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. A 5-day training workshop entitled Regional Training for Labor Attaches of IGAD member states in Middle East kicked off yesterday in Addis Ababa. The training focuses on the dynamics of labor migration and challenges, international normative and policy frameworks, and their role in addressing abusive and exploitative labor migration practices. It also aims at providing needed support to migrant workers and collaboration among countries of origin and destination, it was indicated. You have been watching Addis News Hour. Now a quick recap of the top stories. International organizations keen to support Ethiopia's peace accord.